It seems you've had a great misunderstanding.
All phenomena are moving forward as specified by this compass of order. So it begins.
It's been a long time, Yeshua. Stand down, Kevin Winnicott. Time's up.
Wilhelm!
It seems I expected too much from you, Kevin.
Kevin!
Chapter 60, Zarathustra Speaks. The group run behind Kevin and find him, along with Wilhelm, in the room containing Zarathustra's control terminal. In the room, they see Abel inside of Joshua, Wilhelm's mech. Then, with a snap of his finger, Wilhelm summons everyone's ESs and takes their now fully awakened vessels of anima. Snidely asking Chaos,
You don't mind, do you, Yeshua?
Then the ES, having lost their generators, fall to the ground as the vessels of anima join the others around Zarathustra, which, by the way, now has the Zohar attached to it. All the keys Wilhelm has been trying to bring together are now in the same room. Wilhelm, praising Xion for his strong will, tells Xion that she is worthy of being the maiden and that he will now use her power. Kevin tries to interject, but Wilhelm essentially tells him to let the grown-ups talk, as he has failed in every aspect.
Acknowledge the truth. You were unable to fulfill your role.
With that, Kevin quietly teleports next to Wilhelm. Ziggy asks what the Vector CEO is doing in this place. Wilhelm explains how there are many phrases that define him.
Vector's CEO, head of Hyams, Ormus Patriarch, the Federation Executive Committee Director. All of those are nothing more than phrases that define me. They each define me, yet none of them are me.
As he says, the only person who has been able to define him is Yeshua, Chaos. Then he calmly tells Xian that he would like to activate Zarathustra with her key, but Xian refuses. Of course. And of course, Wilhelm isn't going to let something like Xian's desire stop him. Wilhelm explains to the group Zarathustra's history. This is all stuff we once again know, but since the series is almost over, let's go ahead and refresh our minds on it, as this is when the group learned of all this stuff. Wilhelm explains how it was created by Mary to ascend to the realm of God, the upper domain, and that its power source was Yeshua himself. But God, Udu, did not permit this to happen, so instead, Wilhelm bestowed upon it a different role to avoid the destruction that chaos will bring. Now, finally, after all the weird and suspicious things he has done and shown to know, Xian finally asks,
Chaos? Who are you?
Wilhelm continues to explain how he bestowed upon Zarathustra the role to reset time in order to save the universe from complete destruction. Since everything in the real number domain is connected by the collective unconscious and the imaginary number domain, by acting on the collective unconscious, Zarathustra can reset time. He reveals that Abel and Abel's arc are Udu's observational terminals in the lower domain, and that in order to perform eternal recurrence, he had to seal the eyes of Udu in the real number domain, which is why Abel is in his mech, and why he's been trying to keep Abel's arc inside of the real number domain. He explains to Xian that this is why he needs her. In order to save the universe from dissipation, he needs to reset time, but to do this, he must first gather all the human wills into Zarathustra, but for that, he needs her activation key, so that Mary can guide the wills. Xian tells him that he's wasting his time explaining all of this, as she has no intention of activating a system that would do this, and that humanity wouldn't want that either, as they all fight to live in the moment, not just repeat the same shit over and over again. But Wilhelm informs her of how wrong she is. There are already large number of human wills gathering on their own, wills who reject the world as it is, longing for the days of long past, the Gnosis. Now that she knows that this is all to save the universe, and that there are plenty of human consciousness who wish for eternal recurrence, Wilhelm asks her if she's ready to help. But still, Xian refuses.
I see. That's too bad, for I am not as kind as Kevin.
Wilhelm rises Xian in the air and envelops her in some kind of energy field which constantly causes her pain. When Jin and Rubido try to stop him, with a point of his finger, Wilhelm pulls all of them down into the ground. Wilhelm is doing this because he needs Xian's desire to use the key, even if it's coerced. Alan tells Cosmary to help her, but Wilhelm tells her that he forbids her from doing so, and she doesn't do it. What the hell happened to...
I must protect Xian, no matter what. His will is irrelevant to me.
Desperate, Xian cries out to Kevin and begs him to help her, still having a soft spot for her, even if he expresses it in a very abusive and harmful way. Kevin walks up to Wilhelm and chops his arm off with a fucking karate chop? Okay. Well, this causes Xian to be freed and she falls to the ground. But Wilhelm, as he is with everything else, is unimpressed and unfazed.
Kevin, are you satisfied now?
It seems Wilhelm knew this would happen. Kevin doesn't really share the same goals as Wilhelm. He doesn't care about the universe, he just wants his personal desire of saving Xian and spending eternity with her, even if it just means resetting time. Wilhelm snubs his ideas of love, saying,
For love? Ridiculous. That has no value.
Then he envelops him in the same energy field he did Xian, and goes back to torturing Xian too.
Aren't you happy you'll be able to feel her pain, Kevin?
I love Wilhelm, the calm way he says everything, even when he's throwing hot bands. Wilhelm asks Xian if she's changed her mind, but she says no. Becoming impatient, he orders Mary to bring Xian to him. She hesitates, but Wilhelm convinces her by telling her that if she doesn't, Xian will continue to suffer and she will eventually lose her. So, Cosmary walks over to Xian to pick her up. Both Kevin and Alan beg her to stop, even Xian, but Cosmary doesn't stop. She picks up Xian and takes her over to Wilhelm. As she walks over to him, Wilhelm tells Xian that Mary is ignoring her in order to save her. Cosmary then puts Xian down and grabs Xian's pendant and presents it to Wilhelm. Wilhelm congratulates her for a job well done, telling her that with this, they will be able to live forever. Although I don't get this because according to him, he needs Xian to want to use the key. Either way, it doesn't matter because right as Cosmary is about to hand over the key,
What are you doing?
something that catches even Wilhelm off guard. This is literally the only time we see any kind of expression on his face. He calls her a fool, as now the universe will perish and even Yeshua will die. He asks Mary if this is what she wants, and she responds with,
I am not Mary. I am Cosmos.
her eyes now red. Cosmary rejects her fate and role as Mary and decides that she wants to stand with her allies, thus taking back her name, Cosmos. Kevin then gets up and punches a hole through Wilhelm. What the hell is Wilhelm made out of? This is something which, again, Wilhelm did not expect. Kevin tells Wilhelm that humans and the world have rejected them, and thus it's time for them to stop this. Wilhelm sees the idea of mere humans rejecting them as impossible, unthinkable even. He doesn't believe humans have the capacity to make the decision for themselves, as they don't understand how fragile this universe is, how it is standing on a thin thread, and how easy it would be to lose everything. Kevin tries to get him to understand that humans have decided they want to walk with that thin thread themselves and pave their own path, but Wilhelm believes that they will never be able to do that. Chaos then interjects and tells him that he thinks it's possible, as this world is more flexible than he thinks, and he believes that even now their actions have caused ripples throughout the entire universe. Chaos has finally decided to use his power, but Wilhelm warns him,
If you release your power, there will be more to worry about than just ripples. And besides, it's too late now to suppress their wills.
which may be true if he was alone, but he's not. Don't worry, I know this all sounds vague and cryptic, but what he's talking about will be explained in just a minute. Understanding that Yeshua has come here to challenge his own fate, he admits how fascinating a decision it is, but unfortunately, it may be too late. Kevin's attack on Wilhelm has cut his connection to Zarathustra, and this is causing it, along with Abel, who is still inside of Yeshua, to lose control. As some kind of torrent of energy swirls around Zarathustra, rising the other ESs, Joshua begins ripping off parts of the other ESs. Wilhelm explains that Zarathustra has gone out of control, and if this continues, all of this energy it's building will destroy the universe. Even if he could stop it, they would have to do something with this energy and the wills that have already gathered here. As he says this, Joshua begins breaking pieces of itself off and replacing them with pieces of other ESs. Kevin, refusing to let Wilhelm have his way, decides to absorb as much of the energy from Zarathustra as he can. This is enough to at least stabilize the system a little. But Wilhelm tells him that if he continues to do this, he will dissipate from this world, but so will Wilhelm. Even hearing that he will die doesn't seem to faze Wilhelm. As evil as he seems, he's not really concerned about his own life. He really is just concerned with the survival of the lower domain. Kevin tells Xian that he's suppressing the system's energy, but they still need to destroy Zarathustra. As he says this, Joshua has now used pieces of other ESs along with pieces of Zarathustra to create a new version of itself. This is now essentially a mechanoid incarnation of Zarathustra, and this is what our group has to fight. This fight is, honestly not that hard. There are definitely much harder boss fights in the game, and if you have Erda Kaiser by this point, it's a joke. The group managed to subdue the Zarathustra, and now Wilhelm, having accepted that the group has won, asks Yeshua if he understands what he's doing. Despite knowing that without Wilhelm, the operator of Zarathustra, the universe will be destroyed, Yeshua tells him that he wants to believe in the will of human beings, and with that, Wilhelm accepts his fate.
Very well then. Is that your answer? That does sound like you, Yeshua.
As Wilhelm fades, Kevin too begins to fade. Cosmos shows Xian what was inside the pendant. It was flower petals, probably from the flower Xian planted as a kid. Then Kevin and Xian get one last moment together, and I honestly hate this moment. It feels like the game is trying to give Kevin a redeeming ending, but he honestly doesn't deserve it. And it sucks because the cinematography and the music is absolutely beautiful, but honestly the scene doesn't add anything to the story, and I don't feel like lingering on it because, again, Kevin just doesn't deserve it. I don't care if Xion somehow still loves him. He's a dick, so let's get on with it. Kevin then disappears, and that's the end of his story.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Kevin. Farewell.
Chapter 61, Anima and Animus. As the group stand before Zarathustra, it gets back up as it begins collecting energy again. As everyone begins to worry, Chaos tells them not to worry. Why? Well, we're finally going to see what Chaos meant by not being alone. He didn't just mean that he had Xion and the rest, but also Nephilim. Nephilim goes over to Abel and gets him out of Zarathustra. They both walk over to the group, and Chaos knows what this means, what they have to do. Nephilim explains that the out-of-control energy caused by Zarathustra is being caused by the wills gathering in Zarathustra. Thus, with Abel's help, she will gather all those wills into herself and shift this entire region of space into the land of origin, Lost Jerusalem.
A planet once called Earth.
Nephilim tells them that the dissipation of the universe cannot be stopped. As I explained before, it is caused by a natural phenomenon that will continue to happen over time. However, she believes that with the potential of human wills, if they manage to come together, humans can find a way to stop the destruction. Because of this, Nephilim, Abel, Yeshua, and Mary decide that they're going to help humanity in any way they can. The only way they can. They'll buy them time. Chaos eases Xion's mind by telling her that she's not the one that's bringing the universe to destruction. I mean, yes, she did call the Gnosis, but it's his power that's accelerating the destruction of the universe, and it's been doing so since the moment he's existed. This is when he reveals that Mary separated his power into the vessels of Anima and sealed them away in order to prolong the destruction of the universe. This whole time, Chaos didn't know what it meant to have this power of Anima, but now he finally knows what he's going to do with it. He tells everyone to leave as soon as possible, as he will shift this region of space soon. Rubida, worried about his old friend, asks him what's going to happen to him, but Chaos gives a vague "we'll meet again" answer. Chaos tells Xion that once they disappear, the destruction of the universe will slow down. This is how they will buy them time, but at best, they can only buy them another 10,000 years. So when I say them, I mean humanity. If 10,000 years is the time window to be worried about, this means that finding the way to stop the destruction of the universe will be a long, long process that all of humanity will have to contribute to over a long period of time. But Chaos believes in humans, and so does Nephilim. And apparently Udu does too, because Abel is going to help. Although again, it seems like Abel's kind of his own separate being. Chaos tells Xion that the key to save this universe is in Lost Jerusalem, and that he, along with all the Gnosis, the wills of the dead humans, will be waiting there. So he tells Xion that she must do what must be done in this universe and then go find Lost Jerusalem. Yeah, it really is as vague as it sounds. Look, they knew they weren't going to make another game after this, so I don't think they were concerned with details. After this, Xion and Cosmos say goodbye to each other. Xion laments that after finally finding the real Cosmos, she has to say goodbye to her. Cosmos reassures her that they will meet again, asking her not to be sad. After thanking each other for everything they've done and given to each other, they both say a hopeful goodbye.
I'll see you soon. Yes, see you soon.
Xion and the rest begin to leave Zarathustra inside of Asher, as it is the only function in ES since it now uses Erda Kaiser's power generator instead of a vessel of Anima. Cosmos, Yeshua, Nephilim, and Abel stay behind to do their work. After they leave the room, Cosmos releases her power of Animus. Animus uses their power to release the separated powers of Anima from their vessels in order to join them into the complete power of Anima, which looks like Yeshua. Then the power of Anima goes back into Chaos, and Animus goes into Nephilim. Keep in mind, this is just the power of Mary and Yeshua in visual form, meaning this is not their consciousness. Mary is still inside of Cosmos, but now Nephilim has the power of Animus. And Chaos is just back to his original self, having his power of Anima back. Then Nephilim and Yeshua use their power to call the Gnosis into Nephilim. Xion and the rest come across the Gnosis rushing back into the room where Chaos is. Rubido says that this probably means that Nephilim has begun gathering them, but Ziggy knows that they're behaving strangely. Momo tells him that the Gnosis don't want to go. They don't want to join as one. They're afraid, meaning they're gonna get violent. Xion tries to get Jin to go back, but Jin reminds Xion of the duty that Chaos has entrusted them with, so he continues forward. Chaos notices that some of the Gnosis are not willing to go, and it won't be possible for them to gather all of them. Unfortunately, they need to buy more time to start a dimensional shift and to gather the rest of the Gnosis, so Nephilim asks Cosmos to protect them to buy them more time. Once Jin and the rest get to outside of the Zarathustra, everyone gets out of Asher. That is, everyone except Jin. Jin decides to go back to Chaos and Cosmos in order to help them and buy them time. Xion tries to stop him, but Jin is a hard-headed man. Xion tells him that she needs him as she can't do anything alone, but he assures her that she isn't alone as she has Alan, Momo, Ziggy, and Rubido. He then apologizes for not being the best brother and for not spending more time with her, so he asks her to let him be a brother one last time by helping them accomplish their mission and get out safely. Xion then gets on her knees crying and apologizes to Jin, as she was the one who wasn't a good sister, while he always thought about her.
Not you. You always thought about me. I knew that you did. But I was the one who couldn't admit my real feelings. I was embarrassed or uncomfortable or something, and so I'm the one who pushed you away. I'm the one who caused you so much pain, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for it, Jin.
Jin tells her that she is and has always been a wonderful sister. Yeah, okay. She has suffered her entire life, and so she deserves to finally be happy. As Alan kneels next to her to help her up, Jin tells him,
Alan, my friend. She's a troublesome girl, but please take care of her.
Yes, Jin.
Trying to bring their spirits up, he reminds them that Chaos said they would all meet again, and besides, as a scholar, he has some interest in seeing Lost Jerusalem. Then he leaves everyone behind. Unfortunately, Xion couldn't find the words she wanted to say before he left. She wanted to tell him that she was happy being his sister, and that she's thankful for everything he's done for her. Jin admits to himself that he's actually terrified, but he knows this is something he has to do. Meanwhile, the absorption of human consciousness is causing the UMN columns around the galaxy to disappear. This is because the UMN was built on the collective unconscious, the unified consciousnesses of everyone who has ever died and not turned into a gnosis. Without this consciousness, there is no collective unconscious, and without that, there is no UMN. This may not sound like much, but this is akin to us losing the internet and modern forms of transportation. Without the UMN, planets and ships and anything at interstellar distances can't communicate. Also, faster than light travel is impossible, meaning that planets will essentially be isolated, as the only way to travel between planets at a reasonable speed is with the UMN. At this rate, every UMN column will be gone within 10 minutes. Xion and the rest continue on their way out of the Arkan Cathedral, but Gnosis keep coming at them.
Don't you know you're supposed to accept people's kindness? Momo, are you alright?
Yes, I can keep going.
Xion runs ahead and looks back to tell everyone that they're getting close, but as she does so, a Gnosis jumps behind her. But Alan jumps at it and beats the hell out of it with a rifle to protect her, showing her that he can and will do what he needs in order to protect her. Over at Zarathustra, Cosmos continues to fend off a horde of Gnosis. As the giant Gnosis heads towards her, Jin shows up inside Asher and kills it. Jin tells Chaos not to worry and that he and Cosmos will handle the Gnosis. The group finally make it to the Elsa, and Rubido tells Matthews to take off immediately. He asks about Chaos, Jin, and Cosmos, but Rubido tells him that they have things they have to do, so they take off. Cosmos and Jin continue to take down Gnosis after Gnosis, and eventually, one of them manages to rip Cosmos' arm off. Jin impales it with Asher and jumps out of it, and then sets Asher to self-destruct, killing the Gnosis. As soon as he hits the ground, Jin continues fighting alongside Cosmos, but it doesn't take long for a Gnosis to catch him off guard and impale him through the chest and leg with a giant sword. Jin, however, is unrelenting, and he continues to fight. He faces off against a bladed Gnosis, and eventually, he and the Gnosis stab each other. And the Gnosis is killed, and despite Jin telling Chaos that he's alright, and that he needs to continue, Jin can't find the strength to get up. As he succumbs to his injuries, Cosmos continues to fight in the background. Jin realizes that this is the end of the line for him.
It's quiet now. I don't think it's ever been this quiet before in my whole life. This is what I sought. And yet, now that the time has finally come, I long for the noise of the past. I long for those hectic and chaotic days that once were. But this, too, is pleasant in an odd sort of way. Yes. The time has come for me to move on. Xian.
Jin!
Right as Jin dies, Nephilim tells Chaos that she's ready for the shift. Chaos looks back to tell Jin to get away, but he's sad to find out that Jin didn't make it.
Jin. Thank you, Jin.
The only Gnosis left begins to charge Chaos and Nephilim, but Cosmos charges up her PT cannon, flies inside it, and explodes with her inside of it. Now, just in time to have everyone die, Nephilim is ready. She uses the power of Animus, and a bright light glows. Then, as it dissipates, we see that she has turned into a grown-up, naked version of herself. Why? Honestly, probably for no other reason than to make Xenogears fans happy again, as this is a very similar scenario to when two very important characters in Xenogears first meet. Then, both her and Chaos use Able to commence a dimensional shift. As they do this, a light begins to envelop everything around them, including Jin. This light begins to grow out further than Zarathustra, further than Mictam and Abel's arc, and everything in it is dimensionally shifted. The light begins to catch up to the Elsa, but without UN columns, the group is stuck at normal speed. Everyone worries as the Elsa can't go any faster, but right as Xian is about to give up hope, she hears Chaos' voice. He shows her a final column left in the UMN. One they left open for them to escape. Matthews doesn't believe it, but Momo confirms it. They change course and head toward this column, but the light has now caught up with the rear of the ship. Because of this, Matthews decides to do something he should have done from the very beginning. He activates the overboost mode for the LSAT, and their speed increases significantly. As they head towards the column, Hammer mentions that they have no idea where this column will come out to, but as Matthew says,
"Who cares? Anywhere's better than here!"
With that, they make it to the gate just in time.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tony!
Xian wakes up, and it seems that the Elsa has lost its power because of their overboost, and it can't generate its artificial gravity anymore, as everyone is just floating around. Wondering where they are, Momo tells them that because of the lack of UMN, she is unable to determine their position. Then they start receiving a transmission, which Rubido is amazed by, since there is no UMN to communicate with. But as Hammer says, it's an electromagnetic type of transmission, something that was obsolete for a while now thanks to the UMN. Momo opens communications with the sender, and it turns out that it's Miyuki calling to Shion, hoping she's there and that she can hear her. Shion and Alan both answer, and from outside the window, they see the Damarong approach. A sight for sore eyes that brings a tear to Shion's eye.
Thank goodness! I'm so glad you're alive!
Chapter 62, A New World. After the events in Mictum, humanity, what's left of it, move on along with our group. We see everyone in the starport of the Damarong along with Julie. Ziggy, Momo, and Julie are saying their goodbyes to Shion, Alan, and Rubido as they go off to complete the mission Chaos gave them. All they have to go off of is the fragmented information in the Y data, and without the UMN, it's going to be a long trip. Momo walks towards Shion and tells her that she wants to go with her, but Shion tells her that she has to stay here with Julie and Ziggy because she's going to help Scientia create a new network that will replace the UMN. By the way, let's not ignore that Albie, the dog that Rubido found at the end of Xenosaga 2, is still around and in the background. Then as Shion backs up, Rubido walks over to Momo. Junior asks her to take care of this place as they'll be gone for a while. Momo asks Rubido to say hello to Albedo for her whenever he wakes up. He agrees to do so, but tells her that it could be a while because he's pretty lazy. Then, as he walks away, Rubido tells Ziggy to take care of Julie and Momo. Ziggy tells him not to worry and to focus on the mission. With their goodbye said, Shion, Rubido, and Alan board the Elsa and depart. As Momo waves at them, she says that she will wait for Rubido until he returns and wishes him good luck.
Gone, and the night is still so dark. I'm a little bit afraid of tomorrow, for this day was so long and hard for me, and I've lost some of the things so far I have trusted. Now I will close my heart and sleep a while. Bless my dream with gentle darkness until I could have my strength to wait for the light.
Jin, now I think I understand what Wilhelm wanted to do. Just a little bit better. His methods may have been wrong, but now I think I understand the logic behind his reasons. Living the same life over and over again, but living those lives without any regrets is what really matters. That's probably what the ideal vision of being human is all about. However, we humans are really not that strong. And we know that we can't live like that. We're creatures that are much more flawed, weak, and smaller than that. We hurt others. We lie to ourselves. We hate. We blame others. We regret. But even if we are weak, and even if it is our fate to disappear entirely, I think the will to change the future is still an important one. We must try to change the things around us, little by little, even if it is one step at a time. And even if everything is already predetermined. It's not something for us to be sad about. No, on the contrary, the future is overflowing with hope, and we have infinite paths to choose from. Isn't that right? Chaos. Cosmos.
And that is the end of the Xenosaga series. This has been quite a ride, and I'm really thankful for everyone that has come along with me. I've truly loved making these videos in the past year or so. Thank you for all the people who have commented and told me how much you've enjoyed my videos. Those comments honestly kept me making these videos. And thank you to the community I've made on the Xeno Discord channel. It's been great discussing this game with you all and bouncing ideas around. If you haven't joined the Discord channel and you want to have people to discuss this or any other Xeno game with, including Xenoblade or Xenogears, go ahead and join it. I'll put the invitation link in the description. By the time I actually get to finish and upload this final video, I will have probably begun playing Xenoblade and maybe even Xenoblade 2. So who knows? Maybe I'll have some videos on that, or maybe I'll make some videos about Xenosaga anime. However, despite the fact that I've been focusing on Xenosaga for over a year, my channel isn't dedicated to Xenosaga or the Xeno series. Hell, my first big project lasted a whole 3 years, and it was doing the exact same kind of series I'm doing now, but for Metal Gear. I have some other video games that I want to do lore videos of that I've been debating on, and if you guys want to vote on it on the comments, go ahead. So what I'm saying is that I hope you will continue to stick with me as I make videos about other games. I'll probably continue making lore videos, as I've noticed it's a style of video I really enjoy. However, I may upload some gameplay videos here and there like I have in the past, or some other short videos about random things. Even if you do stop watching my videos, I'm very thankful for your engagement. If you like what I'm doing here and want to see more and think I'm worth $1 or $2, I do have a Patreon if you wish to donate to me. I'll continue to make videos regardless of making money or not, but I'd love to have more time to make these videos. I truly love doing this, but I am the sole scriptwriter, researcher, voice, and editor of this channel, so things take time. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll send off this series with a nice little montage. Peace.
I guess both you and I still exist in this world after all. As long as people, as long as the universe desires it, we will continue to exist. We haven't finished what we need to do yet. So, until then, sleep well, Cosmos.
Good night.